Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Speedrun Ragnarok 2021. I am Ozmourn. You might remember me from my A-Bout and Light Matter run, but I'm going to be hosting the next two runs on our schedule. And with us today, we have the ever-so-talented Squibbons doing Ultima VII, the Black Gate. So, take it away.
Thank you. Let's see how this run goes. So I'm going to do a little blurb since we have a tiny amount of time beforehand, just to get people set up about what Ultima is, where we are in the storyline, because it's going to be while it's 40 minutes, there is a lot going on in this run. So I want to basically get a quick overview of that for everyone so you know what's going to happen. So the Ultima series, I kind of just went through this beforehand, so I've kind of refreshed already. But the Ultima series is a series basically of RPGs in the 80s, early 80s, mostly to early 90s. There were a lot of games in the mainline series, 9 main games and a bunch of spin-offs as well. Ultima VII was released in the mid-90s. We'll talk about a little bit of that during the run. Basically, they're open-ended RPGs. They kind of inspired basically a lot of JRPGs and that you're very familiar with, as well as like games like the Elder Scrolls series. This was sort of the prelude to all of those, this series. So basically at this point, this is the 7th entry in the franchise, and this takes place 200 years after the events of Ultima VI, which was the end of the Gargoyle War. For some reason right now, magic is dying, and all the mages are losing their minds. There's a spiritual religious group called the Fellowship that's like appeared and is rapidly expanding. They're apparently using their influence to secure power across the land. And basically you, the Avatar, are mysteriously summoned from Earth by a being that you don't recognize. That's basically what you're seeing on the screen here with this red-faced thing appearing out of the blue or purple. It's kind of a bluish purple. Yeah, and so basically, as soon as we arrive, we're going to be framed for a murder, and we'll need to be proving our innocence in the real game. We won't be doing that today. And then you learn sort of more about murders, and they're tied to the Fellowship, and that's where we start. So that's about the gist of it, and we'll cover the rest in the actual run itself. But I just wanted to give a quick overview. So...
Sounds like quite the ride. It really does.
Yeah, so I do want everybody to hang on those words that we are being framed for a murder at the start, because that's going to be relevant in the first...
Naturally.
In the first, 2 minutes of the run. This run goes fairly... There's a lot going on, and I'll try my best to keep up. So I will start a new game, basically just we have to create a character and everything. And then after that, I can count you in, since you'll be starting the timer, right?
Yes, I will.
All right.
I'm ready when you are.
So just do it on 1. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so the beginning here, we go through that mysterious gate from Earth into Britannia. It's a different world. We're one of 2 known people. I think there's 3 actually known people who have come from Earth to this world. There's a couple other people who have come from other worlds as well to here. First goal is we're going to enter and exit combat and open the inventory. That will break all the NPCs at the beginning and force them to stop moving and doing anything. We'll immediately tell our best friend here, YOLO, to join our party. They were investigating a murder that happened inside that building. I'm going to go in the church and rob them of one of their jewels, because, well, we need that ring. They don't need it. They're a church. Why do they have rings? So then I'm going to now take all of YOLO's clothes off, because it's just that kind of run, and stack them over here. This will allow us to build a staircase out of their clothes, which lets us escape. I'm also stealing their crossbow. So YOLO will allow us to get on the wall. We are going to be free, YOLO. We can get out of here. Except for, also, I need your food. So YOLO's going to give us access to their food here. Thank you, YOLO, but I no longer need your help. So, goodbye, and you can just go home. But before you go home, I want to murder you. Goodbye, my best friend. Goodbye. Oh, no! So now we're going to surf down the wall on their dead body, because we're obviously a murderer, as the game thought we would be. So we've used YOLO's body to surf down the wall and escape from Trinsic, which we would normally have to do a long quest line to get out of. But we no longer do that. So over here, I stripped myself of all my clothes and ran into the woods, as you are to do, obviously.
Oh my god.
There's a nice hidden chest here that's from the devs, kind of hidden in the woods, and a key literally under this one rock here. That gives us a bunch of cool armor. So we're going to take some of the best armor in the game, put it on. And if I'm misclicking here, I actually have a lot of nerves right now. My hands are shaking pretty bad because I get really nervous doing these runs. No matter how many times I do these things and how many times I've done these runs, I always get really nervous. So I'll be a little slower than I would normally like to be, but that's fine. There's lots of saving in this, so don't worry. Oh yeah, I need to drop these in here. So I'm cleaning my inventory. There's a lot of inventory management in this game. A lot. There we go. So we're good to go there. So basically, I got some of the best armor in the game and this fire sword, which we will not be using for combat, but acts as a very good safety combat weapon if we need it, but also as a torch in dungeons, so we can actually use it to light our way, which is very useful. We're going to be running north out of Trinsic into pause and immediately open this person's house and steal this nice hourglass. I'm just going to take that for my own and leave. The NPCs will react to us stealing. If they see us stealing, they'll call for guards, and the guards will attack us, which will likely kill us in one hit, so we don't want to be caught stealing. It is bad to steal, but we will be doing a lot of that, because the Avatar has no time for rules and laws. We must save the world. Alright, so this is Batlin. Remember the Fellowship I was talking about at the beginning? This is one of the leaders of the Fellowship. We're going to talk to them about the Fellowship, and then ask them about joining the Fellowship. So that's what we're going right now. There's a lot of dialogue for this. You can speed through dialogue in this game by clicking left and right mouse button. Almost the entirety of the game is controlled through the mouse. There's very few actual keyboard shortcut keys. It's a very interesting design decision. So after we've done that, we're going to go inside and steal some health potions. That's the yellow potion. There's 8 different colors of potions. We'll mostly be focusing on yellow and black, and a couple of purple ones. Black are invisibility, yellow is healing, and purple is protection. We may grab a red if we see one. They're randomly generated in some spots. And if we see one, that will help us cure poison. So what I did there is I'm in Lord British's castle now, which is in Britannia. I'm talking to Lord British. I'm asking about the Order of the Moons. This thing lets us warp around the world. I say I didn't bring mine with me, so they give me one. And now I'm asking him about a series of questions that will lead him to giving me a ship. Because we would like to have our own free ship. So he then gives me that, and we can be on our way. We're going to go through like kind of a series of secret passages here. That key I got in the other room will allow us to access a room upstairs. I'm not sure that anything you take in this castle is considered stealing. I do know people don't like it when you sleep in their beds, though. So we won't be doing that at this point, but there will be a point in the run where we need to sleep. Alright, so this is going to be some more inventory management. You can see there's a lot of fiddliness with the inventory. I'm going to be trying to clean it up as much as possible by dropping things on the ground. But first we're going to get a bag of reagents here. I'm going to get the spell book, which is required. I don't want to put those on yet. I'm just going to move stuff into this bag, and I put this over there, and then I'm going to eat this food. Food is required. If you don't eat food, you will starve to death. So we do need to manage that. And that looks good. Last thing we're going to do in this castle is talk to Niceful, the mage, who has been driven mad. And as you remember at the beginning, I was talking about that it seems that magic is dying and all the mages are going mad. I'll explain that a little bit here. First, we need to buy 2 spells, though. So I'm going to be buying a 2nd level spell, which is Telekinesis, and a 4th level spell, which is Unlock. There's a lot of spells in this game, and they do a lot of different things. But those are the only 2 spells we'll need to beat the run. And then I'm going to use that Orb of the Moons I was talking about. Now, this is where kind of everything wraps together. The Orb of the Moons is actually unstable. Using these moon gates, which are these, there's 8 points in the world we can warp to. The Orb of the Moons lets us warp to one of those 8 points based on where we place it on the ground. However, the moon gates are unstable, so sometimes we take damage, sometimes we get knocked out. It's not perfect when we go through there, and there's a reason for that. It's the same reason that the mages have been going all insane. So, for us, I'm going to break into this mage's house, which is Rudium, and I'm going to be stealing their stuff, because we steal a lot of things in this run. It's basically most of what we do. The Avatar, like I said, doesn't have time to figure things out. I'm going to use taking these Blackrock items, a couple of potions, and then putting this item there. Oh, no, wait, that didn't go where I wanted it to. Drug in the one spot. And then there. If I get caught doing this, they will get angry at me, so I need to do this over here out of sight behind the wall. Sightline does matter. So I'll take that, and it looks like everything, so I think we're good here. Next, we will be going to ship, and I'll be using the Moon Orb again. So there's these 3 generators that we're going to learn about. These called Blackrock Generators. That stuff I was just picking up. I'm going to save here now, by the way. Just SRR, save. Just being cautious. There are 3 Blackrock Generators. Well, sorry, let me go back to Blackrock. Blackrock is this mysterious substance that apparently blocks magic from being used in its vicinity. And we learned there's 3 Blackrock Generators that have been crafted by someone in the world that are disrupting magic across the world. In fact, they have 3 different functions. One actually blocks magic and drives the mages mad. One will affect, sort of projects these messages into people's minds, and that is what's causing a lot of them to join the Fellowship. And then the last one is one that traps a character called the Time Lord, which we'll talk about when we get to that point. And yes, there is a Time Lord in the Ultima series. They're in many of the games. They're a recurring character. So this is the ship. This is the one that Lord British gave me. So we're going to sail on out and head out to... So this is a very large world. I just know the map very well. And the ship travels extremely quickly. But it is a super large world. It's a very odd angle on the ship because you can't really see anything. And it's kind of finicky to drive, but it's very fast for traveling, so utilizing that quite a lot. So I'm going to go in this Fellowship Church and go into the secret back area, and then utilizing that telekinesis spell we got earlier. Nope, thank you. We're going to open up the back area. All right, and now there's this sort of... Oh, did I? Okay, I did. Cool. I'm going to put these gloves back on. There's this character here that we're trying to despawn. You can see my character's speed changes based on... Yeah, there we go. If there's an NPC nearby. So we can kind of use that to know if the NPC is spawned. So there's a huge tree in that hallway that casts a lot of lightning bolts and is exceedingly dangerous. We did not want to interact with them at all. They're called Reapers. And we wanted to avoid being killed by the Reaper. Because who doesn't want to avoid being killed by the Reaper? So I'm going to take a Blackrock key. So this would be much later in the story that we'd actually get this key. But this key is for the end game. So we're getting that key right now. Because it's just convenient to get it along the way. And I'm going to despawn this thing again. I used some lockpicks there. I want to check to make sure I have enough lockpicks. Yeah. So we use some lockpicks there to like break into that chest. You can also just attack the chest. Also an effective method, which is things that I oftentimes forget. All right, so we despawned the Reaper, and we're going to run away from these rats. No point in fighting them. For the most part, we're going to be trying to engage only in combat with bosses. There's not really much point in fighting other things. We don't need levels to beat the game. We will beat the game at the level we start at. So I'm going to move some items into this immediately. So I'm going to move this hammer in here, this gold, one lockpick. It's very specific, the items I need in this chest. And I believe that is it. So that chest is going to become important, but we're not there yet. I'm collecting a bunch of items for it at the moment. Thank you for the good lucks, by the way. I'm definitely not as into reading chat in this run as I would normally be, just because it's going to be going really quick. There's a lot of steps going on, so sorry if I'm missing your post.
Yeah, there's just so much going on at once.
So here is Pirate Cave. There's some hidden objects here that are called caltrops that will damage us, so we're just going to move those out of the way. Go into the cave. We can't enter this cave too far. There is a ghost that will spawn, but we can go just far enough in. Oh yeah, I need to move these first. We can't grab the items over there because these gold bricks are blocking us, but as soon as we move the gold bricks, we can grab these items, use the lockpicks on this chest. All right, got some other lockpicks, we're good. And get some glass swords. Now these glass swords will one-shot kill anything in the game. This is pretty much an Ultima tradition. Glass swords appear in a lot of the games, and they break on one hit, but they're also guaranteed to kill whatever they hit. So they're super useful for, you guessed it, bosses, which is what we will be using them for. I'm going to take this ring of protection too. Wait, I already have a ring of protection. Where'd I put it? Oh, here you are. Give me that. Wait, do I have 2 rings of protection? Oh no, that's my ring. Ah, yes, I need that over there. Alright, cool. Me being silly. Alright, I'm going to put a ring of protection, a ring of regeneration on. We don't need any of the rest of this. However, I'm going to open this and take these lockpicks, because it's going to need those later in the run. And then this sleeping powder, I'll take that too. Alright, so that's done with I stepped on a caltrop, obviously. But we have the regen ring, so it's not too bad. And now we're gonna go fight. Now we're gonna go fight a one of the first bosses. It's a gargoyle, stone gargoyle, and there we're gonna be giving us a ring that we can enchant. So while I do that, I'm gonna take this spool of thread and put it in this chest along with everything else. And since I set that up, if there's anything you want to read now, this is a good time to do it.
Yeah, we actually do have one $5 donation from Phoenix saying, for Lolo's family. And I just wanted to remind everyone exactly what we're raising money for. And it is Take This. Take This is a mental health nonprofit, and their main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders, and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental health and mental illness. Take This helps people in the gaming community suffering from mental illness by letting them know that they are not alone in their struggles, and there are treatment options to help out. And they also provide education on mental illness so that friends, family, and co-workers can better be allies to those who are suffering. And if you are interested in donating to this cause and have also some of the donation incentives met, please type in !donate into chat, and so we can get those met, as well as meet some of our goals. See if we can get 10,000 by the end of the marathon. But yeah,
thank you.
Back to you, Squibbons.
Thank you. So yeah, all I did there was kill that stone gargoyle like I said I was going to do, and then took a ring that we will be enchanting. And now I'm going to go to enchant that ring. So the person who does that is Penumbra. They've been asleep for 200 years, or so it claims. Every time I go there, there's a glitch chance that they're actually awake. I don't know actually what causes them in that game, but you can actually glitch them to be awake before we wake them up. But if they're not awake, we'll be waking them up, so we'll see what happens. But all of these items I took earlier are going to come into play. There's a puzzle in the game, which is read by this plaque here. You can see it's in a different language. You have to sort of decipher the language, and then figure out that it wants you to put some items in front of it in a certain order. We already know the order, so we're just going to put them down in that order. There's a few of them. That ring we stole at the beginning is relevant. That hammer we took, the thread we took just now is relevant, and some gold. And what this does is it turns the plaque into a key, which lets us access the building. This is not one of the areas you can lockpick. Some doors cannot be lockpicked. Okay, she's not awake. Sometimes she's just awake. So supposedly Penumbra here has been asleep for 200 years since our last encounter with her during the events of Ultima VI. And we're going to wake her up. She is one of the mages. Normally you would do this in a different order. You will wake her up and then take the... she'll tell you that she's having a hard time and that you need to go get Blackrock to make sure that she's not going to go madly wild, and then we go get the Blackrock and do that, but we've already done all that. So the sequence broke it, and now we're going to wake her up now and immediately talk to her. If we don't, she goes back to sleep, which means we need to go find more potions to wake her up, which we don't want to do. So she's going to tell us about the Tetrahedron Generator, tell us about the Time Lord, and enchant our ring. So now we have the enchanted ring. I'm going to put that on. And I will be describing what the Tetrahedron Generator is now. So there are 3 generators, I mentioned this earlier, that have different effects on the magic in the world, or other effects. The Tetrahedron Generator itself is the one that affects the ethereal waves, is what they call them. Those are the waves in the Ultima series that generate magic. And so it basically causes them to be not smooth, which apparently makes all the mages who are attuned to them get severely affected. So our first goal is to go destroy that. And we learn that there's this mysterious character called the Guardian, who we met at the beginning of the game, that big red face, who has apparently constructed these generators. So we're going to be removing them. I need to put the fire back on. All right, there we go. We're going to be shutting them down. Our first stop is the Tetrahedron Generator. So this is the Dungeon Deceit. It's our first peek of a dungeon in here. Remember when I said we're not going to be doing combat? And I'm serious about that. We're just basically going to be putting on invis rings and running past everything, because it takes time to fight things, and since experience is completely irrelevant in this game, for our purposes at least, we won't be dealing with it. There's a party system. You can have lots of party members. As we saw at the beginning, I did have at least one. But for the purposes of the speedrun, they slow everything down, so we won't be using any party members in the game.
I love how the only party member that you had, you stripped them of their clothes, stole their food, and then murdered them.
Yep, that's traditional Avatar behavior. The speedrun Avatar is a jerk. They save the world fast, but they're a jerk.
I'm like, am I supposed to be rooting for this person? Such questionable choices.
It's great because the games are supposed to be very morally driven. Like, you're supposed to be an extremely moral, the paragon of morals. But the speedrun Avatar has other things to say. Alright, so this is our first boss battle. Okay, there we go. I'm saving here because there is a chance that we will die. So I just want to make sure we don't die here. I'm going to check. Where is this? Just equip that. And then go in. Alright, we win. Glass sword for the win. And that gives us this tetrahedron, this little triangle piece, which we will be using at the end of the game. So the Guardian has constructed these 3 generators to basically try and corrupt Britannia so that he can enter it through something called the Black Gate. We can use the 3 parts of the generators to destroy the Black Gate, along with a magic wand we got when we were collecting the Blackrock earlier. So I will be collecting those 3 items, and the magic wand, which we already have, to destroy the Black Gate at the end. You can actually enter the Black Gate if you choose, instead of destroying it. It is a portal. That's a bad end, though. It's really interesting. You can get to the very end of the game and choose a bad ending by entering the portal right at the very end, but it's completely possible. These rings have a random chance of breaking, so I'm just going to take them off whenever I don't need them so we don't waste them. And also the same with the glass swords. Since they're one-hit kills, I don't want to waste them on a flying bat. But all's good so far. So that was the generator down. Interesting note about the generators. So during this time period, the Origin crew was bought out by Electronic Arts, EA. And they had a huge falling out with EA. And so the bad... the representation of evil in this game are the EA logo, which is a square, triangle, and a circle, which are the three generators. So there's this interesting sort of... they did a few things, like naming characters after executives and such. Like there was a lot of underhandedness on Origin's part on showing their disdain towards Electronic Arts for this game. And to this day, Richard Garriott will still tweet about... He's the creator of the Ultima franchise, sorry. Richard Garriott will still tweet about those symbols and the evils of EA. So, alright, so this is next part I want to say that. We're going to be getting Catalyte from this place. This is Ambrosia, which you may have remembered from one of the other Ultima runs. It's not a different world here, it's just an island, oddly enough. This Hydra guards it. So we're going to talk to the Hydra and convince it that we're going to steal something from it, which is what we do. We thieves. Oh, no. Oh, this is possibly bad. But I did say right beforehand, so it's not a big deal. All right, where... So, sleeping powder. I took this earlier, so I'm going to use it on them. That should kill them. And then... Or not kill them, but put them to sleep. I will then equip a glass sword and attack it. Boom, dead. So there's a lot of really clever ways that you can... there's a broken wall here, we can just clip through it. There's a lot of clever ways to defeat things in this game. You're not required to... Like, you can put enemies, like bosses even, to sleep and stuff. There isn't simply... We didn't even have to kill the boss, actually. We could have just... We could have put it to sleep twice on the way back out, but it's slower. So we just defeat it now, not worry about it. So we are going to leave Ambrosia and move on to our next part, which is... so we got a thing called the Catalyte chunk here. We're going to need this to build a helmet, which will help us enter one of the other things. So, oh, I didn't explain that. The ring gave us access, that enchanted ring we had, gave us access to the Tetrahedron Generator. Each generator has a specific item that we need to craft in order to enter it. So we will be basically crafting 3 items. We got the enchanted ring already. Now I'm going to be making an enchanted helmet called the Catalyte helmet. And then there's also an enchanted hourglass, which, lo and behold, I stole an hourglass earlier for future purposes. I'm just going to park my ship somewhere along this coastline. This is for... We're not going to actually go anywhere here. This is for the future. At this point, I'm going to start warping around, but I use this part to basically park my book here for quick access in the future, because we are going to be losing our moon orb soon, which means we won't be able to warp around anymore. But for the moment, we can warp around. So let's go get that helmet I was talking about. And there you saw the moon orb failed. Caused me to fall over and take damage. So Minec, the city of Minec here, has 2 things for us. We got to join the Fellowship. We got a package earlier from Batlin that we need to deliver. It's this box right here. So we're going to go deliver that. There was a foul murder in Minec. Turns out there was murders everywhere. But we are going to skip that dialogue and go into asking about joining the Fellowship. So we say we want to join the Fellowship. We got a delivery. We have not opened it. It doesn't matter if you've opened it or not. There's stuff in there, but we don't need to care about it. And then that's it. So we got our payment, and we can now join the Fellowship, which is soon to come up. The other thing we need to do here is talk to this character, who is conveniently here. They actually would normally be in another location, but at this point in the run, because of the timing, they will be standing at this point in the at this junction. They're the blacksmith, so normally they'd be in the blacksmith area, but characters in these games, I guess we haven't talked about that at all, actually have schedules. They will move around, and they have sleep schedules, day-night cycles, a lot of interesting stuff with they go to eat at the tavern, they'll go hang out with a friend. They actually have pretty deep, interesting, like, lives that they do. I can't get through this portal, apparently. Nope, that's not where I want to go. That is not where I want to go. Just keep going. There we go. Thank you, portal. So we're going to decide, it's another dungeon, to again skip a sequence. Okay, there's gremlins, I think, after me. What are these things? Yeah, okay, gremlins. Like, what the heck are these things? Oh yeah, we can throw this ring away. I'll just, we'll lose it in the woods. Enchanted ring, goodbye. You're in the woods now somewhere. That shows you how much we won't need that later. So I'm going to do some ring shuffling and go into the start. So yes, part of a quest that we will be doing soon, if we had delivered the package and gone straight back to Batlin at the beginning, they would tell us to go to this cave and investigate this chest. It was a trap. We were going to supposedly die to dragons, because it's the dragon dungeon. So they were expecting us to die. But we know about the chest before they've told us about it, because we're magic avatar of speedrunning quality. So we know everything. And then we will just take these items, put on some invisibility, and jet. It's interesting when we talk to Batlin, we're going to have a conversation about them telling us to go to this cave, and then we'll tell them, yeah, we've already been there. We've done that. Don't worry, we got you covered. Which is where we're going now. Oh my gosh. And very shortly, we won't be able to use this moon orb anymore. There's about 2 more sections, I believe, before then. Alright, so this is Britain. So we're back to where we started at the beginning. This is where, well, not the very beginning, but this is where Lord British was, the castle, the Fellowship. It's the giant city in the game. And we're going to be running over to the Fellowship itself, which is not here. That's the museum, Squibbs. This is the Fellowship. And talking to Batlin. They're going to tell us to come back at night. So we say we delivered the package. We say mission. We say good. Then we say chest. Monsters. Join. Blah, blah, yes. Da, 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 and there we go. And I'm going to eat their apples, because who doesn't want evil tainted apples? I'm going to see what time of day it is. It should just be the regular museum. It's the British Museum, or the Britannia Museum, or the Britain Museum. I think it's the Museum of the World, actually. See, there's a clock in here. It says it's 7:14. So we effectively have 2 hours left before the ceremony happens. I'm going to save here. Again. And now we can hopefully do this without messing up the time period. If not, we'll just sleep a lot and it'll be fine. So I'm going to go to another dungeon. But first, I need to get access to the dungeon. And by access, I mean the other magic item. So for this dungeon, we need the magic hourglass. This is the sphere generator. So before I can enter the sphere generator, I do have to get the magic time loop preventing device, which is a magic hourglass. I can get rid of this and talk to you, my friend. Oh, first I want to steal all your stuff. Steal that. You're going to get mad at me. I hope you don't get mad at me. I'm going to take all your stuff. There you go. And let's see. Enchant. And that was it. So now we should have a magic thing. Yep. Now we have all 3 magic items we need to beat the game. All we need now are the generator pieces themselves. So... Oh, oh no, what? Come on, game. I ran right into it. That was my own fault. It's a little squirrely when moving sometimes. So we'll warp back to you. It's one of the 8 towns I said we could warp to. These moon gates are fairly consistent. The map of the Ultima world is extremely similar between Ultima games. It's starting with Ultima 4. So at the end of Ultima 3, which we saw Organ Mike run, the world is destroyed by the actions of the Avatar. Inadvertently, but it is destroyed. And in the aftermath of that, a new world is born and sort of restructured. So after the cataclysm, the lands shift, the towns shift around, and we get the map that is starting in Ultima 4. And that map from Ultima 4 onward is the exact same map in every game. Oops. So Ultima 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not 8. 9. One line. I said not 8 because 8 is a special case. 8 actually takes place on a different planet. In a different place. So, not 8, but every other game uses this same map layout. So if you know one Ultima map layout, if you know where the towns are, you'll know where they are in every game. So here we're going to go to the sphere generator. Again, just using invisibility everywhere because it's super convenient. There's a cool trick in a different run that you can use a little kid to get through this gate and then leave them here to die in the depths of the dungeon. That sounds terrible, but it's exactly what we do.
Oh dear.
It's a clip that only requires an extra party member to get through the gate without the item. But we're not doing that because it actually messes up our... Because when we destroy this generator, we can no longer use the moon orb. So that orb I was using earlier is now useless. Which is... but we freed the Time Lord. So basically, the Guardian was very scared of the Time Lord, and the Time Lord basically had a plan to destroy the Guardian and prevent this from ever happening. But the Guardian cut them off, and we just freed the Time Lord, but they're kind of drained and tired, and they can't help us much. They can just guide us. So that is what we are doing now, taking their guidance. So we've got the second piece. We've got a sphere now. So we have a tetrahedron and a sphere. We do have... Oh, hey. Thanks, running out on my invisibility. We have a sphere and a tetrahedron. We need the cube still, which we will be trying to get shortly. This maze is actually interesting. When you walk around, it does warp you back and forth in the area. So it's not one where you would solve it by just kind of walking around. You really need to pay attention to the fact that you're visiting the same rooms over and over again. But if you know the pathing through the warps, you can actually just quickly move through that location with relative ease. But it's supposed to be a really confusing maze that things are shifting around constantly and you're looping back on yourself. But again, we have the power of being Speedrun Avatar who knows all. So we're going to run back to the Fellowship and hopefully catch them before they're doing their initiation ceremony. Maybe, if we're lucky. It's this building. Here we go. We did. Nice. Perfect timing. So at 9 p.m. every day they do this ceremony. So we need to be here within the hour of 9 p.m. to get this ceremony done. This will let us join the Fellowship, which is necessary. They ask us a series of copyright questions that would prevent you from knowing these if you don't have the manuals with you. Thankfully, we know all the answers, so it's not a big deal. Ginsig requires 40 reboils, for instance. So we just answered a couple questions, and now we're part of the group. So we are officially, we have this medallion to prove that we are now in their Fellowship, trying to gain their trust, that we are actually part of their group. So we can sneak into their island retreat. It is actually called Meditation Retreat. And that will be where we're headed soon. Whoa, 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 okay. Alright, buddies. It's cool. Just give me a second. Let me put on some invisibility so you don't know where I am anymore. It's most of this run is like, oh no, I'm being attacked. Throw on the invisibility cloak. Like, and then take it back off again. We take them off because it is, like I said, it's a random chance they break. It's not an easy to predict when there. It's not a certain time period. It can break 1 second after putting it on, or 4 hours. And we don't know when it will break. So I'm going to save here. There's some stuff in the ocean that could kill us. I'd rather not just die to random stuff in the ocean. That would be the second time a copyright was used in the game, by the way. So, you know those old games where you have to do like copy protection, like by typing in, oh, what is on page 333 of this, like of the manual? That also happens at the beginning of the game in the town of Trinsic. When you solve the murder, you need to do a bunch of answers that are given in the copyright manual itself. And here's meditation retreat, though I think it's nighttime, so we probably have to go sleep. Yep. I forgot to sleep in Britain, so I have to do a backup plan. But this is pretty easy to do. It's just kind of obnoxious that I forgot to do it. There's a cool little place here. We can go into Serpent's Hold, and most people will get really angry about us sleeping in their bed, but there's one particular character I know will kind of miss us when we enter the room and go, what's going on? Usually. Hello? There we go. And then we can go to sleep.
Wow.
And they won't kick us out of bed. Other characters will kick us out of bed, but they won't for some reason. So, we sleep here. And we get to the next morning.
Could you imagine some person just like coming into your house and then kicking you out of your bed and then sleeping in it?
Just falling asleep right in the bed.
And then leaving the next day, that's all they needed?
It's just, I really, really needed to sleep, buddy. Like, trust me, I need this bed more than you right now. So, yep, I'm going to eat some food, make sure we don't starve, and then talk to, gosh, Ian, that's right. So this is meditation retreat. I want to get in. There's blocked by a barrier. We need a key to get in. I said, yes, I'm a membership. I can show the necklace we got. So now they give us the key. So we can use that, open the door, and throw it on the ground because that's a waste of inventory space. So we don't need it anymore. They can pick it back up if they want it. This will be one of the last generators that we're going to deal with. No. This is a maze that we enter here. Oh, no, hi. Okay. Actually, we're doing damage. And I will be saving at this point because this is probably the most likely point for us to die in the run. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible part of the run. I don't like it. I don't think anybody likes this part of the run. So there is a pattern we have to solve here. We're going to be running back and forth to these invisible trigger points to basically hit a bunch of things that enable us to open these pathways, but meanwhile it's going to be shooting rockets at us the whole time and setting the floor on fire. Like, okay, cool. We're not dead. We have this is a cool thing with the regeneration ring. We can stand up basically ad infinitum if we get hit by fire with a regen ring, because it for some reason sets our health to like -1, which prevents us from dying. But we go into this sleep state, so we have to kind of wait for our character to stand up. You can see that it's a slow, painful standing up state, but we made it. I'm going to heal a couple times, and then save again, so we can do the second part of this. And we're just gonna move through the maze. No. Okay, cool. Nope. No, wrong way. Wait, what? There we go. Back here, over here, up, back over, down, through, over, down, up, and done. Alright, there we go. We got the cube.
Nice.
So we've got the 3 evil components right there. You can see them in their component order. I actually don't know what order the logo goes in, but there's your 3 pieces. We've destroyed the generators, and unfortunately, each of these generators does have a side effect. Like, for instance, the moon gates no longer work due to us destroying the generators, but they were necessary to destroy. So, some permanent effects have occurred to the land that they unremove in the future. What do they call that when you retrofit, but it's talking about the lore? There's a term for this. Retcon, there we go. So they retcon stuff in the future when it comes to Ultima 9. They change them. They bring some things back, like the moon gates and everything are back normal, but they're, for the rest of this game, destroyed. So now we're actually going on to the last portion of the game. Yeah, I guess we're making pretty decent time. I didn't realize it was 40 minutes. This run goes so fast. Like, it doesn't, for me as a runner, I feel like it's going by really quick because there's just a lot of clicking and doing this and doing that. There's a lot to keep track of when you're doing this run. Nope. Gangplank is blocked. Go. Park. Right there. Nope. Alright. One more. Back here. There we go. It's so finicky. I'm going to take...
Parking a boat is such a task.
Yeah, it really is. So you can see we actually can have 8 party members here. That's what this means. That's why there's so much, so many seats here. That we actually can have 8 party members. I don't need this gold. Just going to get out of my inventory. I'm trying to make space for the potions. Just get as many as we can into the bag. So we have it all set up. Cool. Alright, and now we're going to enter the last section, which is the Isle of the Avatar, named after us. The Avatar. We're going to be using that key I stole quite a bit earlier in the game. 3 times, and then we will not need it anymore either. So this item here, I'm just quick stop by. This is called the, this is where the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom would have sat between the points of Ultima 4, 5, and 6, but we banished it at the end of 6. The whole plot of that game is that we banish a book. And you need banishing, alright? Like, that book needed banishing. And now we enter the final dungeon. And there's going to be a lot of flip switching and hidden walls, and these are actually really fun to play when you're playing these games. They're just the mystery of stuff, trying to figure out the puzzles. There's lots of like puzzles and like secret bits, and here we've got a like, you know, kind of a more mundane switch puzzle, but it's got some interesting effects to it, like opens up each of these prison cells. The last one, which has this person in it, we'll be hiding from as usual. Oh, it says it won't fit. Okay. Fine, I'll drink one of these potions. Get it out of there. Where's my invisibility rings? There you are. So much stuff in there. But in here, for instance, we need this key to progress. But the way out is this hidden switch behind this pot. And that opens a wall that is also a secret wall, which is like really, there's like some, like I said, there's some really strange, like I can't fit it in there. Oh, we have we're not wearing a regen ring. There we go. Wait, why can you not put the regen ring on? Put the regen ring on. Thank you. My gosh, Avatar. Oh, let's keep on moving. Okay, this is a fairly large dungeon with a lot of puzzles, but goes fairly okay. For the most part, I'm just going to be using telekinesis and doing a lot of flip switching and stuff. So if there's anything you want to update now, this is probably a good point, because I'm kind of just going to go through here for a bit.
Yeah, we've actually gotten 3 separate donations since the last time I spoke. And one of them is a $100 donation from Greaves with no comment, but I was told that did go towards the Gauntlet 4 name incentive. Currently, that's in the lead, $100 for Jauntlet. So if you want your character, if you want the main character, to be named anything of your choice, please donate to the Gauntlet 4 name incentive. We do have 2 other donations that I'll read off really quickly. $20 from Binary Split that says in which the avatar introduces their new virtues: backstabbing, theft, and speed. And then a $25 donation from Local One that says, "Shout out to Squibbs' amazing Ultima 6 randomizer. If you like Ultima 6 for the SNES, check it out. It has options for every skill level. Also, go Squibbs!"
Thank you, everybody. There's a lot of good support from the Ultima community here today. It's a really pleasant speedrunning community. A really good group of people overall. A lot of interesting stuff in the games to run too, so there's a lot of variety in the different types of games overall. I mean, they're all RPGs obviously, but it's a really cool group. I definitely like being part of the community, and I'm so glad there's so much support from the groups here. Like, so good. And yeah, the avatar's morals are quite questionable today. This is like an invisible maze. Just sort of speedrun, you know how to get through it, speedrun rules. We're approaching the last room now. So there's sort of this puzzle here. Again, reading plaques would tell us sort of what we need to do. It doesn't really tell us what we need to do. They're hints and riddles. There's a lot of riddles you need to solve in these games. It's a very thinking game. Don't expect to beat these games quickly if you pick them up. They very much require a lot of sort of thought and... Oh my gosh. I have not had to use any potions on this run, which is kind of some form of a minor awesomeness. So I'm going to get that key. Sitting on this throne basically kind of teleports us to different parts of the dungeon, but it's not clear immediately that that's happening when you do it. But once we sit on it, then we can kind of explore these walls and go through these hidden areas. But yeah, once we finish this area, we will be entering the last room, and it will be rapidly going to be time after that. It doesn't take long once we get into that last section. I would say we're maybe a couple minutes from the end.
No worries, I'm ready whenever. On the timer.
Sit down, take some damage, dodge the fire. The lich just spawns fire in that door every time, and you can't just walk into it, but it has a chance of knocking you out like we saw earlier, so we want to avoid that. Sit on the throne one last time, and as we go up here, I'm going to save right before we enter this, because this is the final room. Oh, and our invisibility ran out as soon as that happened, which is... I'm glad I saved! What luck! What luck! Okay, alright. See if we can get the invisibility back on as fast as possible. Blink. And then, yeah, we're going to start placing some cubes. So I'm going to place the cube first. These are the 3 cubes we're talking about, or the 3 things we got from the 3 generators. So one is the cube, and then we're going to put this triangle on, if I can find it. Blunk. And then we'll put the wand on the ground. Not there. Can't put it behind the thing, Squibbs. Or not there either, apparently. I'll just throw it in the middle of the room, then it's not a big deal. You go over there. We do need to kill 1 character in this room. Just 1. So this is an actual final battle with a lot of the people we would have seen in the main story. But we need to kill Hook. There's a character who was the murderer at the start of the game. That person who was doing all the murders, we're about to murder them. But first I need to find them. No. No. Oh, okay, this is a pain. It's this one right here, but I need to kill him. There's only one hit with my sword, but if I waste it on a different character, well, we'd have to reload. But we kill them, and then Batlin escapes. They run away. And when Batlin escapes, we are now allowed to place the final prism. And at this point, you could click on the portal itself to enter it, or we can use the wand on the portal to destroy it. And that's time.
All right. GG's. That was a wonderful run with a protagonist making some very questionable moral decisions. But that was so much fun. I love it.
Thank you. And here we see basically in sequence the Guardian trying to come through the Black Gate. But we destroy it, supposedly blocking the Guardian off. But the next 2 games, the Guardian is also the bad guy. So clearly we did not defeat them. We simply delayed their actions. Thank you all for the GGs. Yeah, I don't think I've run this game in a marathon before, so this is kind of interesting. Maybe I have, but I don't think I have. Like, it would have been years ago. But that's Ultima VII. So.
All right. Thank you so much again, Squibbons, for that wonderful run. And thank you to everyone that donated and was chatting during that run. It was an insane run. I feel like there's just so much that you're doing all at once, and
the Ultima runs are very busy.
Yes. I don't think I could ever speedrun something like that. When I speedrun something, I want to speedrun something that requires the least amount of thought possible. Just go and speed through.
Yeah, sometimes those can be fun too. Like, this is definitely... I was nervous about derusting this because I think it's been 4 years since I did this run before this marathon. So it was a lot of nervousness on knowing that this is a very complex run. But the save system, because you can save anywhere, really sort of alleviates a lot of worry. Because if you fail something, you kind of reload it, you know. It is all really about memorization, though. But yeah, I think I'll be back tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I'll be back doing a run with Cloudy Shoe on Saturday morning, it's Saturday morning my time, and that's going to be for Ultima VI Randomizer, which was mentioned earlier. But otherwise, this has been a really good marathon. Everybody's been doing such a great job. I've loved watching so many of the runs. I'm really glad I've been able to do some runs this marathon too. And shout outs obviously to the Ultima community, who has been amazing and has really stepped up and been supportive. So and also just my community in general and a lot of my friends. So thank you. And with that, I will pass it over completely to you. So
all right then, thank you so much for that amazing run. Stick with us, everybody. We are going to have a small setup block, and after that setup block, we're going to be continuing with Gauntlet 4. Remember that you have some name incentives for that, some name bid wars for that run. So if you want your name of choice to be given to the main character, make sure that you donate for that incentive. But that's going to be open until the beginning of the run, and we have around 20 minutes for the setup block until that happens. So thank you so much, and stick around for Gauntlet 4.